I've had other symptoms that I find that I never even thought were going to be connected to my diet. I found that they've improved.
Steve, how did you find carnivore?
I think it's a long answer, to be honest, but it starts off when you're a young kid and sort of not the healthiest kid on the block. I find that I was very asthmatic, and it was easy for me to put on weight as a child, especially as an early teenager. And I had severe allergies my entire life. And with these allergies, they even took my adenoids out of my nose, had an operation to take them out because they just thought they must needed to come out because I had so much just nasal problems all connected there. So with that, even after when they'd taken this operation, it didn't make a difference, didn't make a slight difference. I was always prone to colds and yeah, just really unhealthy and always just not feeling right. And I had low energy and low mood. But then as a pre-teenager, I took on dancing and I really enthusiastically took on the exercise. And that seemed to like dull things out a little bit. Like how I think of it is I was sweating out the toxins. That's what was always just stuck in my head is, okay, well, if I keep dancing and I keep doing this exercise, I'll be sweating out the toxins. Now, dancing is a very highly cardio, and it's not like weight resistance. Is like it's just all about using your arms and using all that. So I really found it as a competitive thing. I did competitive dance, and I took it seriously. So like from what you learn from your mom and everybody, I took on carbs, glucose, sugar, glucose tablets. You know, I'm down in it all the time, drinking all, and the weight was falling off because I think I was sweating so much, and competitively, I was really trying my hardest to get up to the top level. So for about 10 years, I didn't have too much problems. And then when I was like 23, 24, the weight started coming back on for no reason. I hadn't really changed the diet. I was still just eating whatever I wanted, all the standard atrocious diet, just all of that, just eating it completely, all of that. And just slowly by like year after year after year, things were getting harder. I was having to have more tablets, more of the glucose tablets, more of the Lucozade, more of the Coca-Cola, just more carbs, eating even more of prep. I'd be like an hour before dance, I'd be gulping down as much as I possibly could. And it was an addiction. It really was a huge addiction. And I thought it worked. So like even before dance competitions, I'd be like having a full English breakfast, eating everything I possibly could, getting as much energy what I thought I needed into my body, just so that I could competitively compete where I wanted to be. And then as I hit like 26 years old, that's where the weight just blossomed onto me. And I still was trying to keep up to the same amount of level of dancing I was doing, and the same amount of hours. But in my mind, that was like, oh, it must be less weight resistance. I was doing too much cardio. I'm getting old, as they say, you know. So I thought, well, I'll try weightlifting, and I enjoyed it a little bit, but it didn't give me the buzz of what the dancing gave me. So I didn't really stick to it. But it was the goal. The goal was to lose a bit of fat percentage and gain a bit of muscle, because that must be what I need now I'm 26, 27, coming on. So now into my 30s, like, well, through COVID, everyone's life's changed. And prior to COVID, I was a dance teaching instructor, but just an assistant. Through COVID, I got myself fully qualified, ready to set my own business as my own dance school. So that's what I have now, my own dance school. And then I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to represent my own dance school, I want my body image to suit the industry. In a dancing career, if you're really top level, you've got to look a certain way. And I wanted that. I wanted less fat percentage. So with that, I was looking online on YouTube, and looking at all these male YouTuber influencers who are like about bodybuilding, and they're trying this latest fad, and they're doing this, and then they're eating this, and they're only eating these amount of calories, and then but this works better with this meal or at this time, and then the intermittent fasting. And then there was a YouTuber called Hamza. He's from the UK, and he has his own like cult, he calls it, of being wanting to be the top 1% of the males. He doesn't want to be the 99% of the males who are just going to live the life without their own business, and they're just going to have that 9-to-5 job, and then that's it, and then go home to the wife and So he tested that he wanted to try the carnivore diet. He said, I'm going for it. I'm going to go for it. And I was like, what is that? Sounds too extreme for me. Yeah, I was watching his stuff. I was learning from him. I thought that's just too extreme, because that's not the norm that we have in life, that we're just brought up as a kid. But then my partner also said that he'd found it. So I thought, okay, let's research this. Let's see, what is this carnivore diet? And then the Joe Rogan thing, all that comes up as you click on Dr. Anthony Chaffee. Straight away, those big names, they come up, and I was like, okay, right, well, let's see what they've got to say. And then straight away, plants are trying to kill you. I'm like, whoa, what is that? Thought, okay, that's extreme. But then, I listened to the whole thing, and but at the same time, I got really ill. Like, so as I was doing all this research, days before all of this, I'd got myself really poorly, where I was bedridden for like 4 days. And just before that, like, some sort of carb addiction literally was taking over my body. It was making me feel like I needed to I could not stop eating. My body was saying, feed me, feed me. Now I know that's saying, feed me nutrition. You're not feeding me any nutrition whatsoever. But back then I was like, I need carbs. I was literally like, anything in the cupboards for days and days. I was doing this. And then that just crashed my body into this huge, just being ill. I was bedridden for 4 or 5 days. So I thought, look at the state I've got myself into. I'm completely addicted. I couldn't stop eating. I was just down myself. I was depressed, stressed, couldn't get myself out of bed. And even before that, weeks before that, I was having days off from my business and from work because I could not get out of bed. I was like, I can't do it. Not because I was physically couldn't get out. I mentally just could not get out of bed from the stresses of life and all that kicking on. So yeah, so when I got myself really poorly for those 4 days, I managed to do loads of research. I thought, I need to change my life. I've heard little bits and bats about all these different things. I've heard of keto. I've heard of all of it, but I just thought, okay, this has come across in my life at this time where I've managed to just feel so bad about myself. And then everything you research is saying that it can change your life. It's the best thing people have ever done. They find the energy levels, the mood goes down, and weight, like I was wanting to look, that can help. So I thought, let's give it a go. And I found the research really interesting. I don't know why, but I just dug myself into this huge cave. I thought, I'm going to keep digging and digging and digging. And as a gay man, I sort of was relating to some of the feminine and the female YouTubers. So like Kelly Hogan, I find she's a natural teacher anyway, so she's great at giving her YouTube advice out there to everyone. And 5 Minute Body, she's another one that I found really interesting. And yes, Dr. Anthony Chaffee is amazing. I really do think he's so informative. He can give you this, but I've managed to find that I could relate to these women because they were welcoming. So like in the community, I thought, oh yeah, I can do that. And then they're showing us around their lifestyle and just with their videos going around their room and their kitchen and showing you what they do every day. And I thought, well, that's easy. And then they're saying that you could eat as much as you want, steak to start with, and as much ruminant meat and some dairy and butter and eggs. I thought, I can do that. I can definitely do that. And within days, I managed to see some improvements straight away. My energy levels were low, but I thought they're not like how they were. They were used to be up for an hour, down for an hour, up for an hour, down for an hour. I managed to, there's this little consistency already happening. And then day by day, it just felt a little bit better. And I don't know why. I always remember day 23 was the day I felt, wow, oh my God, I've done 23 days of carnivore. And I felt amazing because some of the videos out there are like, oh yeah, 2 weeks, I felt amazing after that. And I was like, why is it not kicking in for me? But I thought, no, I'm going to trust the process, keep going. And for the first week or two, I think there was a lot of bacon in there. And then as you do your more research, they're saying, well, try and make it more ruminant focused. So then I did. And then Kelly Hogan's like, just exercise just a little bit, just go for a walk. And then by doing that, that made me feel so much better because I remember on day 22, I'd gone for a huge walk with the dogs, but longer than I normally would. And then day 23, I was like, I don't know why, but I feel better. But I do. I had so much more energy and I loved it. My mental depression, stress, that had all just naturally just sort of decreased. And I'm, to be honest, I feel great. All my entire life, I've always had like tired eyes, and now, yeah, there's still some there going on. There's still the dark bags, and then the red. Is it rosacea? I've got someone there on my cheek as well. I mean, this is all dulling down now, but it's always been there, and things like that. I've always just. I thought it was just my skin. I thought, well, I'm not a model. I'm never going to have that model's perfect skin. But as it's coming to see that I can see less is going, and now it's improving. I thought it was clearly the diet all these years. So now everything's clicking. Everything's making me understand. Oh God, my allergies have always been so bad, and I thought it was because I was allergic to the grass. And yeah, those little things might trigger, but it's always been the food. I've noticed because I've cheated after 4.5 weeks of pure carnivore. Some social events came up, a holiday came up to go to Ireland, and there was those little moments of cheating. And the next morning, all of this, what I've had my entire life, has just come back straight away. I was like, oh, and then in Ireland, we were going for walks, and I just couldn't stand it. And then when the days that I didn't cheat, there was nothing, there was no symptoms. So yeah, I might have these little like triggers, but it ultimately, I think it is the food. I really do genuinely believe that my body has intolerances, and it sets off all these symptoms. So yeah,
I was talking to someone before about this, and I really think this is a good thing, because any diet can be hard to stick to at times. You get this beautiful cake or whatever sitting in front of you that people are eating, and it's like, oh, I really would like some of that. And the fact that the problems come roaring back so fast is like just this great reminder. If you do fall off the wagon, it's like, oh, I know why I should not do that again.
yes, exactly.
Mm.
And this is a diet where you're thinking, oh, I've fallen off the wagon, but I want to get back on it. I want to get full again. I want to get that health back. Whereas other diets feel like, oh, it's too hard. This eating all those salads that you in the time you thought was going to be magical, never was. They never gave you that magic bliss. They never just settled it and then thought, actually, I'm doing it for a reason to improve myself, but it's easier on the way. Like you can fill yourself full of your fat. I love butter. I love steak. I'm currently taking on Kelly Hogan's advice of going for the burgers, the pre-made 100% burgers with just seared in salt. That's really easy and convenient for me. I love the steaks. And Black Friday, I got some beautiful ribeyes and sirloins for a great Black Friday price. But then, like the sirloins, the fat can be very tough, no matter if you're air frying it. I'm not the best to cook, but I've tried many ways to to ultimately get that where I want it. And I'm like, no, that doesn't quite satisfy me the way I'm looking for. So I'm finding that doing the burgers, the quarter pounders, are really easy and just do 4 at a time. And my appetite, well, I've always had a huge appetite. But then at the start, I'd lost loads of weight, to be honest, because I would put myself poorly for those first like 4 days. That much that I ended up having a water fast, and it wasn't intentional. It wasn't because of research said that water fasting is amazing for you. It'll get your autophagy going. It wasn't because of any of that reason. It's because I was so poorly, and I never went to the doctors. I never rang 111. I never did any of that because, like, I have that like distrust a little bit where the government, the system, all intertwined with these sugar companies and all these processed food companies. They're all in one big team, and I just thought I'm gonna step out of that norm. And I didn't want to get blood tests, and I didn't want to see how poorly I was or what was wrong with me. I've always had IBS like little troubles, but I've never really got it tested. And when I have gone to the doctors before and I've said I'm not right, I feel low, they've done a blood test. Everything that they say is normal. But what is like many doctors out there say, blood tests are basing it on the normal of the 75% of the world or whatever are eating the standard atrocious diets. So I'm like, my blood levels are wrong. My testosterone must be wrong. Something is wrong somewhere. I don't know what levels of magnesium or whatever is out there. Something's wrong. If it's loads of it, I didn't know. And they were just like, no, it's green. It's all in the normal. I'm like, no, I'm not right. So I've never gone to my doctor and said, this is my plan. I'm going to do this. Just because I've not had that relationship with the doctors here in Yorkshire. It's okay.
It's I find that story you just said about the blood test really interesting because yeah, I when my blood tests are perfect, when I've got perfect cholesterol, when I've got perfect everything, is when I am the unhealthiest, when I feel the worst. But yeah, once the blood tests not making the doctor happy, that's when I feel good.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. And then
Funny
as
how
we're
that
finding,
works, right?
yeah, exactly. But then what they say is normal cholesterol, it needs to be low. We've all been manipulated over all these years. And I really do find it interesting. There's so many different YouTubers out there, like who are just showing us the new way where it's reality compared to how we've been blinded. And I'm so glad that there's great representation out there that is just wanting to spread the word and make others feel better, because I think that's really important. And back to my story is that like I managed to lose 1.5 stone within 6 weeks. Just it must have been
That's about 21 pounds, is it?
I believe so.
I think there's 14 pounds to a stone. So wow. In how long?
In 6 weeks.
Wow.
Just from doing the carnivore diet. But I think earlier on I was very under eating. I really was. I was from the water fast. After that, I was eating 400 grams of minced beef a day. That was all. So that's less than half a pound. Less than half a pound of mince every day. Yes, I'd had an egg or two. Sometimes I'd had butter, but I think I was generally very under eating. But I felt full. I felt this is a satisfying diet. So, and it ended up being like a OMAD, a 1 meal a day. The energy levels were great, but I could feel like I can improve on this, and more research looked into it. Yeah, I thought OMAD maybe down the line might be an amazing thing to do if I want to tweak 1 or 2% from my BMI. But right now I'm trying to feast. I want to get the nutrition in me. I could tell from weeks before that my body needed some nutrition. It wasn't getting any. So I really forced myself to eat more and more and more, get some different steaks, and I would have in 2 steaks and get the burgers. And I'm finding that really helps me now. So I've not lost loads of weight since then. I think a lot of it might have been water retention and inflammation. One funny story is that my body kind of played a trick on me. So I've had my nipple pierced for years. and it's never healed. It's always had like minuscule scabs, and it's always needed like cleaning 3 or 4 times a week. And I just thought my body just doesn't want to heal it. I've had tattoos, they've healed, but this nipple piercing, just for some random reason, obviously lack of nutrition as we know now, never wanted to heal. And then as I was putting on more and more weight this year, because my body was craving any food it could get, wanted to get it in. Everything got bigger. My breasts got bigger. The nipple literally got bigger, and didn't make a difference at all to the nipple piercing. But then now that I've lost the weight and in such a short time, I thought my body looks like it's trying to like push out the nipple piercing, like it's wanting to heal, because it's becoming further away from the skin and towards the edge of the nipple. But I think now I've actually realized that my nipple breast has shrunk, and with that shrunk, that excess skin in the nipple has just sort of like blossomed into more of a prominent nipple. So it looks like it's stuck out further, because it's not moved any further now, thank goodness. I didn't want this half nipple like ripped off. But yeah, that was my body playing its trick on me with the skin stretching and like coming back to a full prominent nipple.
Yeah. The ripped off part is where I thought the story was going. That's why I went up.
Yeah. But no, thank goodness.
Just to confirm, how many weeks in total have you been on this? Like, when did you actually get started?
So I started it in the middle of September, so we're on 3 months now. And there has been, like I said, cheating through there, falling off the wagon, but coming straight back on. And I was 14.5 stone, I weighed. So now I'm still just hanging around that 13 stone. I've had other symptoms that I find that I never even thought were going to be connected to my diet. I found that they've improved. In the past year, I've had like slight plantar fasciitis sort of kick in on one of the feet. And then all of a sudden, it feels fine, like it was never there. And I've had like IBS troubles and all of that, and again cleared straight away. I've even had an ingrown hair. Not an ingrown hair, an ingrown toenail. I've had an ingrown toenail that was always inflamed, where it's obviously doing it. It's what it believes is right thing, and then that's less inflamed and there's no pain, and I'm finding that easier to sort of control. And my body has always been prone to having cysts and ingrowing hairs, and then these always turn into cysts. And they've suddenly just sort of vanished. Apart from I've had a new one, and my theory is it's a bit of oxalate dumping. I really do think it is, because the more I've been like cleaning my diet, I feel like that one just sort of come from nowhere. And I think I've had itchy armpits. I feel like there is the start of some oxalate dumping. I really do believe that. And I didn't expect it to come this quick. I thought my body would still be just trying to heal and replenish. But then I guess that is part of the replenish way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just getting rid of the toxins as it can, and yeah. So I'm really interested in one thing. I mean, congratulations on the results that you've had so far. But I'm really interested in how this has impacted the dancing you're doing. Just in terms of energy and stuff.
Oh, it's been tremendous. Like, in my 20s, I was at the top level of my competitive dancing. I've got over 13 national champion titles alone. And there's more connected to that with like team events, pairs events. So top level, I've been up there in the UK, and in my 30s, it just diminished. And in my 30s, I've taken on to be a dance teacher. So I was like, okay, I'm getting old. And as a dance teacher, okay, it's the dancers, the ones that I'm teaching, it's their turn. But more and more weight kept coming on, and the energy levels kept coming down. My mood was getting down. I was getting less confident. And then as of trying this diet, like I said, day 23, I was up doing everything with the kids. I was doing my old routines from years ago, and they're like, "Wow, I did not know you could dance like that." And I'm like, "Well, I'm just having fun. I've got the energy, the motivation, the positive attitude to just give it all I've got." And it's been such a blessing because I'd forgotten how much of that I can love, and how much I love to sweat and work hard. And well, the kids, they're enjoying it as much as more as me now, because I'm like a supposed to be their inspiration. And if I'm not showing them how hard you can work, they're never going to get to that level. So it's been really great. And I've even set myself up for 2024 to have some performances for myself. I do some judging nowadays for dance competitions, and there's certain ones out there that I like saying, "Oh, would you ever do like a judge's performance?" And well, a year ago, I've just sort of like chickened out of them. But now I'm like, yes, I can, and I've got something to aim for and look forward to. Get back to being myself, and I'm not feeling an old middle-aged man in my 30s. I now feel like like I used to be in my 20s. I genuinely feel just as happy and as enthusiastic and as energetic as I used to do, if not a little bit more, because I was probably getting those spikes up and down, up and down, up and down all the time. And now I just feel we're up there. So I find it amazing, and I feel like I can finally get back on track to loving my life now. I really do.
That's awesome to hear, for specifically for you, but it's also it's just so nice to hear because everyone I talk to has the same kind of story, you know? And and what it all points to is it's real simple. We're poisoning ourselves all our lives, and when we stop poisoning ourselves, guess what happens? We get better. It's
Yeah.
just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. So, you mentioned before that your partner was in on this with you at the start. Is he still in on this with you?
He's planning to be. He came up with it that said, "Let's try it." So I got the mince, got to the butcher's, went to local, tried to get the organic eggs, got it all for us, and he's still really addicted to the processed food, the sugars. Um, and he didn't get himself so ill, so I don't think his motivation is turned up to where mine is just yet. But he has Crohn's, and I keep showing him so many videos of like Dr. Anthony Chaffee, or there's plenty out there that can talk about Crohn's and how that they're in remission. And it's like, yeah, but they're not really in remission though, are they? They still have flare-ups. I'm like, no, they're talking about that they're completely in remission. They're not even having flare-ups. And it's like, yeah, well, I might try keto or ketovore. I'm like, okay, like I'm not gonna force it upon him. But yeah, he never fully really dived into it just yet. I hope he does. It'd make it a lot easier in the kitchen. But do you know what? We used to have those times where every meal was social together. We'd eat the same thing. We'd be together. We've come to a new normal now where I have what I have, he has what he have. We can still enjoy that same time together. We're just not eating the same food. So it's not a huge struggle, but I think it would be easier if there wasn't other things in the cupboards around to be like tempted. But I just I like on week on around about week 6 or 7, again, I'm watching YouTubers like yourself and so many out there, and I felt like I was coming out of the matrix. I really did. I was like walking around like, oh, they're malnourished. He's malnourished. Oh, look, he's getting that in his shopping bag, and I'm just like, no, that's poison. I couldn't have that. I don't want that. I don't want that. And I'm glad I've come to that now, where I'm like, okay, I can see that it's all been engineered to be addictive and to be tasty, but actually looking at all like the seed oils and what's gone through with all of that for all the entire years, and the sugar, it's all just been processed to make us believe that it's great food, when actually it feels like it's poison. And that's what I believe now. So if every slip up that might occur, I'm like, okay, well, I know I can get back on the true food, get the true nutrition, and I'm doing it to make myself better. And I feel like I've got now goals I can set myself, where I can get back out my old trousers that are a 32-inch waist. And I'm not there yet, but I know I can do it. And I don't think it's going to be a struggle. I just think it's going to be keep on the straight and narrow, keep this consistency up. And other goals, like I say, I'm going to do more performances myself. So I'm really looking forward to 2024 and see what it has to offer.
You know, something you say makes me really kind of think about the way this kind of changes your perspective. Because in the past, like, I think when people talk about stuff for, the next year, they're like, it's all quite just, aspirational, and I'm probably not gonna get there, but I'm gonna do a diet, and I'm gonna give up alcohol, and I'm gonna do this thing, I'm gonna do this thing, I'm gonna do this thing. It's all aspirational, and you can kind of go, yeah, you're barely gonna get one of those things in. But I feel like when carnivores are talking about the future, they're like really thinking, I'm gonna attack this. They're not thinking, oh, this is just aspirational, I get there. It's like, well, this is what I'm gonna do, and this is what I'm gonna do. And the future just looks so much more open and brighter and achievable. Do you feel the same?
I really do, yeah. And that brain fog is gone. Like, I'll link it to what you said, where yeah, we might secondhandly believe that, oh, we're going to do the January diet, where we're not going to have anything like any food anywhere that's sort of near Christmas. We're going to go complete opposite. We're going to join that gym, and it's all going to be amazing. And then by February, you've forgotten all about that. But this, like, your memory feels more clearer. So you can put your aspiration and your goals really clear in the front of your mind, and you can see it every day. I've genuinely suffered like mildly with just memory loss, sort of, where I can't remember what I did 6 months ago. I was looking for a piece of paper and no idea where I'd put that. It was from 6 months ago, no idea. Now I remember what I did yesterday. I remember where I'm putting things, and I would have to double check unlocking the door and locking the door. When I was leaving the house, I'd go to my car. I'd come back to the house just to see if I did lock the door, because I was in so much fog and just thinking about what I needed to think about, that I couldn't even remember doing the little things. Always forever losing my phone and or the keys. And I just feel like everything's clearer, and I love that, because I didn't realize what I was missing. And then I wish that I could have come back and done this years ago, rather than now hitting the age of 33. I'm still young. I'm still healthy. I know that I can keep with this, and I really do want to keep with this. I can't see going back. I cannot see going back. Me and my partner, we're going to be adopting, um, and it's going to be about 4 to 6 months time, where we'll be ready at that stage. And I can already see like this lifestyle is healthy, is good. Dr. Anthony Chaffee can talk about that. It's great for kids. Dr. Ken Berry's like got his own. Kelly Hogan, she's got her carnivore kids, and how much intelligent they could be, and they're not addicted to the sugars. Like as a kid, we might have had that treat once a week and we were still addicted to it. And it seems to have become the normal where kids nowadays are having it every day. They're having it every meal, and they just want more and more and more and addicted. And what are they going to be like when they're adults? So I'm glad I found this now at this part of my life where we can implement it in the child that we're going to adopt. And it's not going to be forced upon, but in house, I'll make that conscious effort and we'll teach them that, okay, sugar and things are part of everybody, the normal life for everyone else, but it's not good for us. And it's not good for us because it can do this. And
And I
then,
think that teaching part's the most important bit, right?
yeah, that's why I find like what you provide on YouTube and what other YouTubers out there are just educating everybody. I do. I find that, okay, we can learn the secret, but if we don't spread that, it's not going to help. And then you could go into politics with it because everyone's saying that we shouldn't be eating meat. A new rumor up in Edinburgh that they're going to stop kids from having meat in school. And it hurts because it's from what we see and what we know and what we experience. It's just all manipulation. And then unfortunately, like I can't make a difference there, but as a whole, if we're all helping each other out, spreading that message on and showing our own experiences out there, if everybody could just help a little bit, we can help fight the right fight, which is to show where real nutrition comes from.
Very well said. Very well said. And I'm shocked to hear that's happening in Edinburgh. I'm
Yeah.
shocked. Yeah.
Hopefully it's just a rumor, but there must be
Yeah.
some real great vegans up there that are convincing everyone a great story.
And I guess, I was born in Scotland, but I haven't lived there any part of my life other than when I was an infant. But I guess Edinburgh is probably the more progressive of the cities up there,
Yeah,
I
it
assume.
is.
Yeah. So I'm interested if anyone's spoken to you and said, "Hey, Steve, you got all this energy. You're looking healthier. You're looking fitter. You seem to be still eating a lot. How do I get in on this? Like, has anyone asked you about it and tried to get on carnivore?"
A little bit, yeah. I've like spread the word a little bit because being like the principal of the school and there's many dance mums around, there's so many that I just say, wow, 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 look at you. And I'm just a natural person that'll tell them straight away what I'm doing. So there's been so many that are just listening to my story and they're all still being a bit old fashioned and be like, what about the veg? I need the veg. I need this. And then if I mention the word oxalates, they're like, no idea what that means. Doesn't sound threatening because it doesn't seem real. It's not something I've ever come across. Everyone knows about cholesterol and that sort of talk is really interesting to have when they believe a certain way and what we like to discuss. But I've had a few that have just like so mentally like within themselves that are struggling through their normal day-to-day life. So one lady, she's called Steph, and she is a dance teacher as well, and she's with us part of what we do. And she seems really interested in starting. She's just not quite just yet, but I've sent her loads of like YouTube videos. I've sent her the ones that have been realistic as well, where she's like, oh, day 5, I was really moody, but day 7, I felt good. The natural things that our bowels can do in the first few weeks, talk about not how just amazing it is, but talk about the reality of it. And then I've sent her my favorite inspirational ones and yeah, she might try it and I hope she does. It'd be great if more do just think, okay, let's not believe the doctors. Let's believe in our own bodies and see how healthy we can get.
Yeah. Again, yeah, very well said. So Steve, is there any way people can reach out to you? Do you have an Instagram or a YouTube channel?
Um, because I'm loving the fact that I'm finding it inspirational from people like yourself that are spreading the word out there. I'm starting my own. So it's British Carnivore. You can find me on Instagram. And again, British Carnivore on YouTube. And it's brand new, but I feel I feel passionate. I love listening and absorbing all of this information. And I find myself in just general day-to-day life telling other people that I just meet or other family relatives about how great I am and what this can achieve. So I'm really looking forward to, even if it's just low key content, but I'm just gonna provide what I have to offer out there at British Carnivore.
Nice. That's awesome. So I'll link to that below the video. And Steve, look, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been an honor.